Okay, so hi everyone. So, so I'm gonna talk about the DevSecOps, about the demonstration, about the assignment submission after the presentation. So let's talk about the DevSecOps. Okay, so like DevSecOps is like it's a keyword, like a buzzword nowadays, as it's a part of the DevOps ecosystem, like past years or couple years. And he's abstract by is to understand to DevSecOps is like a people to what they are know about the knowledge is like a strategy to the extend DevOps efficiency to the software security. So it's like implementing the DevSecOps thing and get it trickier. So somehow it's like achieving the DevSecOps, not the tools like even part of the process as the DevSecOps flow. However, like implementing DevSecOps is required to perform the evaluating the existing the IT industry in the resource DevSecOps process. Then it should be build the holistic strategy and integrating the strong securities into all of those things stuff. Let's move to the DevSecOps in the depth. So it's like basically DevOps security is building right from the startup. It means like a building security into requirements, into design the code and the code deployment stages in the short term on the entire development in the pipeline. It's a part of all security practices to slow down development teams, and when they time prick to market their short term every year, and software development teams had to be show up the how they're gonna speed up their software development procedure. So without compromising on the securities, that's how the DevSecOps is started. For the ultimate goal is bridging between security teams and between developers to ensure the fast way for the safe delivery their source code. So that's mean the DevSecOps means. And let's move to the next slide. So what is different between DevOps and DevSecOps? So therefore different between DevOps and DevSecOps is between battle for their culture is own habitual things like DevSecOps is a philosophy of integration in the security methods into DevOps process. So between the teamwork, it's a crucial to DevSecOps engineers that is like a DevOps engineer for their ability to resolve conflict and conduct productivity, negotiate, play crews role in creating secure applications. So those stuff have to be maintained between the DevSecOps. So from their very startup SDLC model, DevSecOps works to make the application secure by introducing the variety of security techniques. So that's the gap between DevOps and DevSecOps. So therefore like DevOps heavily relies the automations like DevSecOps, which is they are targeting for the every aspect into the security auditing stuff. For how to adapt in the when the DevSecOps is like cloud securities alliance, the company has been implemented 6 fundamental aspects on the pillars. So let's talk about the pillars like collective responsibilities, securities, they are like PM who's in the progress, whatever like cannot be measured. So each person in the organization has to be own security responsibility and must be aware of their own contribution to the organization's security stance. So and the second one is a collaboration integration, which means the securities can only achieved through the collaboration, not the confrontation. And third one is a pragmatic implementations. It's like framework agnostic digital security and privacy model, focusing on the application development, like ensure safety and privacy, and the trust in the digital society. The organization will be able to approach security and DevOps in pragmatic manner. And the fourth one is bridging the dividing the between compliance and development. The main target is there for the gap between compliance and development to identify their applicable controls, translate them to called it's like appropriate software measurements, and the identify the inflection points with the software lifecycle where this control can be automated and measured them. And the fifth one is like automation. As you know, the QA is the automation part. So the software quality is always have to be better, improving through the output and frequency testing process, and can be automated. Should be the all stuff had been considered to before releasing the software product. And the last one is a measurement and monitoring the actions. It's mean like the during the software development process, it has a pause delivery must be continuously controlled by the qualified people right time the development should succeed. So let's move the next slide. And so what is the key element of DevSecOps? So therefore three types of key elements like shifting security to the left and continuous the feedback loops, the automated security. And let's move to the next slide. So how to adapt the DevSecOps? So it's like so it should like DevSecOps is a culture, not a technology. Somehow it's like traditional method in security teams. DevSecOps teamwork works separately, and for the succeed, DevSecOps methodology follow the DevSecOps methodologies in a both sec and dev. So team must be make their application security and integrate their strategies and continue as to encourage the security awareness. So the effective way they are following automated process as much as possible and follow the DevOps methodologies, train to code securely, evaluate their current security measure and conclude what they are overcome to their problems, and they integrate the security DevSecOps by adapting the right DevOps models and monitoring continuous. They integrate the continuous delivery, analyze their code and do vulnerability assessments and mandatory securities, and every stage what they are follow. So let's move to the next slide. So as I mentioned before, it's the same the code implementations. So this is how like adapting the DevSecOps. And let's move to the slide. So let's talk about the how DevSecOps works. So DevSecOps is like simply enhance the automations and throughout the software delivery through the pipeline, eliminate the mistakes and reduce their attacks and downtime for teams looking for their integrated security into their DevOps framework. So as the analysis to infrastructures and the idea of the challenge the involved ones, they complete the seamless using their right DevOps tools and the process. So let's talk about the DevSecOps the workflow, and for the developer create the code within a version control management system, as well their changes are communicated to the version control management system. Another thing, the retrieve their code for the version and control management system, and their carriers of the analysis of the static of the code to identify their security defects or bugs in their code qualities, and the using the infrastructure through the code tools such as Chief and the applications they are deployed as security configurations are applied to the system as well. For the test automation, they use their against the new deployment application, including backend UIs and integrated security tests and the APIs. So if the application passes those tests in the deployed, the product will become the environment as well. So this production environment is monitored the continues to identify any activity security threats to their systems, as well the automated security testing for the verified need. So let's move slide. So what are the benefits of DevSecOps? as the benefits are, there are a lot of things they are using the DevSecOps. So let's talk about briefly in this thing. So reduction of expenses and delivery rate increases. This means like the cost reductions for the achieving the attackers detecting, fixing security issues during the development phases, which also can be increase of the speed of delivery. So second one is security and monitoring deployment and check their notify system from the beginning. So it's like the same as the speed recovery to the enhance the security incidents by utilizing their templates and pet capital methodologies. So the third one is transformation, right? The start of development is like improving the overall security, reducing vulnerabilities and patch them, reducing default and increase the code coverage and automate them through the immutable infrastructure. So the third one is like security design ability measures. It's like main principle is ensure the automation security review the code and automate the applications, security testing and educate and empowers development to the use of security design patterns. So although the responsibilities security cover the security of DevSecOps, foster a culture of openness and transparency and does so from the earliest stage of the development. The ability of their measurements different things are which we can see that everyone DevSecOps is enabled to culture of the constant iterative improvements. So it's like the most of the security programs, the success is implementation of DevSecOps as the involvement intersecting parts, people, process and technologies. So furthermore, DevSecOps is also recognized as their security is responsibility of everyone is an organization and everyone has a role play and securities. So their security teams has traditionally been dragged into these different benefits for the release for performance, like who came along with the end of the development cycles and poke holes in product and force part to the fundamental retool far too late or in the process. As a result, become the security teams in marginalized over time, creating a self-reinforced down spiral of the division between teams. And the development names is more like the DevSecOps is more likely better to stop security become their own echo chamber without taking their considerations, and they implement the policies as to the tool for the proper training, restructuring the teams and appointments of the securities and championing the means. That means like a security becomes a less than functionalities of they are more than frame of the mind parameterize there of the company. So this statement is like a foundation of the success of the implementation of security process, and the technologies make them enhance their security earlier in the stage of this the DevSecOps projects in the quick, easy to achieve to software delivery cycles. For most of security companies, like culture and creation process and key to success for DevSecOps is like they are agree to their repeatable ways for the clear documentation and publicity of the company, ensure their transparency of security towards the rest of their business model, like essential process like implementing their version control, codifying security and security tools, CI/CD pipelines in any analysis threads, intelligence data like creating playbooks and action plan, incidents and implementation, red teams and bug bounties. So if they are implementing the process can be automatically identify the problems, fault and bug their threat, etc. So as soon as they are responsible to be agile fashions where the priorities implement their proper DevSecOps process, as the organization would responsible too late and too slow. DevSecOps makes short term in the feedback driven security their loops possible that quickly identify problem that they are react out to swiftly. So let's move to the last part, the slide. So what are the challenges of DevSecOps challenge? So let's talk about cultural challenge. So it's like discourage the organization between shifting towards the DevSecOps approaches. So reliant on the year is not many people will become drastically change their cultural changes, benefits and as well. And the opponent is developers as security professionals, fostering and environment collaborations. But in a certain period of level, friction has always existed between these two teams. Both sometimes maybe other teams just create a headache for their own team. So it's like a prospective result in both teams work silously, which become a defeat the main principle of DevSecOps. It's like again change in culture mindset in their need nature of the implementations. So therefore the developer make the between the gap knowledge. It's like the emphasis the cybersecurity data protection of the in the between the company is reasonable. The security their code and practices, it has to be standard computer science program circumvented, but there have to be in the top college computer science program provide little if the applicable security instructions. Beyond that, many developers have to be probably the juniors as seniors between the technical knowledge between share the informations. So computer science is make it like a security that formal security training. So other thing is formal AppSec training. So which means virtual classes quick, easier to overall the security awareness skill in the team between the team. And another thing, the security champions, which it become as a security training developers sit with the development teams to mentor the advocate or assistant with security developments and mitigate the activities. And the third one is e-learning. So like e-learning is a platform between the just-in-time training for the micro courses, like providing developers with the guideline if they are required addressing their particular issues. So these are the three things the most biggest challenge in the DevSecOps challenges. And therefore the lack of app security tool integration, it become become multiple vendors in the tool chain of DevSecOps. It's it has to be team should be picked their source code management, like continuous integration, CI, build tools, binaries, repositories, test automations, and trouble ticketing system that best suit their needs. So it's off the shelf integration as well as API, making it reasonable very easy to combine everything into well-oiled DevOps machines. It's the team between pipeline frictions and developers overloaded. So it's therefore the biggest challenge is competing priority traditional AppSec in the tools between modern DevSecOps velocity. For there many AppSec tools were designed around the mold in which member of the security teams ran their tested review their several hours, but they are not would be take days. So let's talk about the best practice. What DevSecOps has for the DevSecOps practices, there are three things. Their main coverage, automation is good, has to be used the DevSecOps efficiencies and carry the threat modelings. So it's DevSecOps has to be implement their compromise, because adding the security layers and it's them embedded their automating security controls and test earlier. Developers has to be cycle there ensured the fast delivery of the applications. However, that there has to be consent of DevSecOps really means the business model of the to the company. It's a part of playing what we are thinking the outside. So it is the basic understand of the DevSecOps challenges. And yeah, thank you for everyone.